She'll read some poetry that he has written and program. And on a side note, she was my high school English teacher as well many years ago. And Christmas, our December meeting will be a holiday event. I'm working on having some music program here that evening, so more of a joyous, occasion. Asking individuals to bring everybody to bring some cookies so we can all share in everybody's favorite cookies as well, and then Christmas lighted house displays will be up as well. However, more importantly tonight, what everybody came here for is our speaker this evening. Our speaker is Sherry Groom, who is the owner and director of the Troll Hole Museum out of Alliance. Sherry is the current world record holder for the largest collection of troll dolls as certified by the Guinness World Records. She took possession of the world record in 2014, and through the publicity from media sources and interviews on NBC News Cleveland and the BBC of London, spread the word of her unique, quirky, and fun museum. Sherry created the museum she created to house her personal troll collection. Since then, obviously, many donations of trolls from around the country have arrived at the museum. The Troll Museum now houses over 20,000 pieces of troll memorabilia, including 2 buses. So I'm sure she'll tell us about that. She also has invested in revitalizing downtown Alliance area and is passionate about that. Alliance for the last 10 years and creating unique tourist destination and remodeling many buildings into themed-based businesses for the community. So she's vital to the Alliance area, I would say. However, tonight, we don't have Sherry Groom. We have, I believe, Sigrid, the Troll Queen, who's going to be presenting to us the history of trolls from ancient mythology to the modern toys that everybody loves so much today. So if you don't mind, we'll welcome Sigrid.
Thank you, Kevin, for inviting me to come to your lovely city of Salem to a historical society. Who better than Sigrid, a Hudra troll? We have been trolls, are the oldest supernatural creature known to mankind. Anybody know where trolls came from? What part of the world? Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Germany. Some of us, we've now populated the entire world, but in the beginning, the legends of the trolls, thousands and thousands of years ago. The beginning of the earth was a frozen cold place. The first giant came out of the iceberg Ymir. The gods from the heaven, like the Greek gods, Thor and Odin, interacted with the giants. They got in a terrible battle. Ymir was slain. Out of his body, the seas flowed from his blood. The mountains became his bones. And from the rotting corpse of Ymir came maggots, light ones and dark ones. The light ones became the pixies, the elves, and the gnomes, the good fairies. And the dark ones, condemned by Odin to represent evil, trolls. So the trolls have represented evil from the time of the ancients. But over the years, everybody evolves. So trolls went from evil to mischievous. Through the years, they've evolved from very small to very large. So, troll trivia. Who? Okay, I'll speak up. Is that better? Now there's 2 of us. Troll trivia. Trolls come from the northernmost part of Norwegian Scandinavian countries. Denmark, Iceland, Finland. Each country, the troll is different, and since they've been around for thousands and thousands of years, they've had chances to evolve into many different images, characteristics, and personalities, but always reverting back to those evilness. So who amongst you has a troll doll? Okay, so keep your hands up if you have 1 to 2 troll dolls. Who has 5 to 10 troll dolls? Who has more than 20 troll dolls? Who has more than 100 troll dolls? Okay, we're down to 1 crowd here. So, the grumpy troll. So tell us, why do you have so many trolls?
My wife and I are really into antiques, and when we'd go to flea markets and antique malls, our daughters would go with us. And our daughters, when we would look for our stuff, our daughters started looking for the trolls. This is probably about 25 years ago. And we more or less specialized in the animal trolls from Dam.
Correct. So, the troll doll image. My husband likes to say, the image of the troll is not a troll. It is a troll doll. And the doll didn't come about until the late 1950s by the woodcutter Thomas Dam from Denmark. He looked into the water. He saw his own face reflected back. He said, that looks like a troll. He created a doll for his daughter for Christmas. That doll became infamous. It went what they nowadays call viral. By 1960s, it was doing $1 million a year in sales. But it was not to Thomas's Dam's. It was to the copywriters, people making copies of his doll. So on the bottom of his trolls, including the animal ones, he was the only one to do the animal-themed trolls, and that just means the dolls have that troll hair. What's special about that troll hair? Anybody know? It's real Icelandic wool. It's not the synthetic fiber. Yes, so you can tell it's extra long, it's extra soft. This other hair is synthetic hair. These are the copycat trolls. So Mr. Dam's trolls on the bottoms of the feet says D-A-M. Well, remember the legends, the trolls represent evil? So when Christianity came to the Scandinavian countries, they condemned the trolls. Part of the pagan belief system. Get rid of all the trolls, banish them, don't talk to about them. They all had to go underground. So Mr. Dam creates a troll doll, and what does he stamp on the bottom of the foot? Damn things. So once more the church condemned them. Don't play with those toys, those are damn. And to this day people will come to the museum or accost me on the street and say those are evil. Don't play with those dolls. So that sticks to them. Where are we at here? Troll trivia, any questions? Any questions for a troll? Yes?
I'd like to ask a question. The Aesop, very good Aesop fables, he talked a lot about trolls, but I thought he was German.
Well, trolls being the oldest supernatural creatures, when our artist has drawn up a big family tree of all the creatures, and the creatures moved around. Now, one of the interesting things about a troll is that is a Norwegian word. And when they started writing down the fairy tales in the late 1800s, the word troll was often translated into a witch. A troll, oh, it's a female troll, so they would call it a witch. If they were from France, they called it an orc. If they were in England, they called it a gnome. If they were in Ireland, they called it a leprechaun. So they called it a giant. So a lot of time there's cross reference. So us at the Troll Museum, we take credit for Jack and the Beanstalk, that the giant was a troll. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of a Christian man. He's going to eat him because Christians condemn the trolls. So does that answer your question? At the Troll Museum, we take credit for most of the supernatural activities in the world, and they're either trolls or have been misnamed over the years. But trolls were the original bad guys, and everybody filters off of that.
Yeah, these were bad guys. They were like monsters.
Yes, monstrous and giant, mean and nasty. But then there were some that were more courtly-like, and then there's the Hudra trolls. So there's three main groups of trolls. Ones that live in the water, ones that live in the mountains, and ones that live in the forest. And of the forest-type trolls, there's ones that live above the ground and below the ground. The ones that live below the ground are the Hudra trolls, and they're very human-like. They have villages, they grow crops and have animals, and they like to intermingle and marry with humans, because humans and trolls are two species that can interbreed. So that might explain some people's behavior that you know that are very obnoxious. They also like to kidnap humans and take them with them. So you've heard about people getting lost in the forest. because of the trolls. And then people come back kind of touched or mentally off, dazed or confused, it's because of the trolls. Now, the trolls possessed the magic. In the beginning of time, the gods Odin, trolls had magic. And in Sweden, if you say black magic, the word for black magic in Swedish is trolldom. So they are the possessors of the magic. So they have magical abilities to shift their shape. Did you know that the International Cat Museum moved into Downtown Alliance after the Troll Museum opened? Well, there's a reason for that. Trolls have the ability to shift shapes. Sometimes it's a strange, attractive horse. Sometimes it's a large white bear, but most commonly, it's into a cat. Have you ever had stray cats show up from nowhere? They're hungry, you feed them, they sleep all day, and they're out prowling at night. Because trolls, being evil, are condemned to hide out from humans. They can't come out during the day, or they will turn to rocks, stones. Thus your mountain trolls. Thus, those Scandinavian countries are full of large, strange-shaped mountains, which they name after their trolls. And some people say they're not really dead. They're just very, very still, watching, waiting to make their move. Come out at night and misbehave. Yes?
Is that where the story about the trolls and the goblins for Mr. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings?
Yes. Trolls pop up very commonly in the plots of fantasy and surreal fairy tales and other legendary things. You had a question?
It was about troll hair. And I know usually the hair is straight and kind of up in the air, windblown. I see your hair is not. And
Yes.
I had a troll who had an afro. And I had a boy and a girl. The girl had traditional troll hair and the boy had a little afro. Is that...
There was a company, came out in California, Rasta, R-A-S-T-A, the Rasta company, and they did all their trolls with that kind of Jamaican looking. So it might have been that, but yes, some people get licensed, and sometimes people will replace the original troll hair with curly hair or other hairs. A lot of custom troll dolls out there. People dye them, new hair, new outfits, for fun. Any more questions on our troll trivia? Okay, how about a troll joke?
Okay.
A giant troll, giant as a mountain, like Jonah and the whales, grabs you and swallows you up. What do you do? You run around in circles until you're all pooped out. Okay, so when you come to our museum in Alliance, it's guided tours. They're 45 minutes long. There's a charge from anywhere 2 years and under is free, up to $10. Seniors are $8, and groups get discounts as well. So you learn about the troll doll history, and you learn about legendary trolls. And we go from room to room to room. You've seen that show, What's Behind the Next Door? So we do that. One of our rooms is a troll hunter, where we show you evidence of real trolls in Ohio. And one of our themes is, are trolls real? You decide. So by the time you finish the tour, it's a pretty good idea that there's trolls real and they're living in the troll hole. We have the Grumpy Troll coffee, and we just added waffles. We have our menus up here. Let's see, I got some more prizes to get away. Where do trolls produce their movies? This is a joke. So it's Trollywood, of course. But this one someone should know. What is the latest troll movie? Over the years, trolls have not only been sub-characters in Harry Potter and other movies, but they're also had movies in their own right. Some are scary, like Trolls. Came out with Shelley Hackett. It was really... Anybody see that one? There's a ball bouncing. Dungeon troll in the basement. Okay, so the latest troll movie. Anybody seen it? So no one knows the two main characters of the newest Troll movie? Anybody have grandchildren? Younger people? They came out last November. Represented by my cloth there. And the big guy with the blue hair.
Smurf troll?
Nope. Smurfs are making a comeback.
Good.
I'll bring up their theme song here. Okay, how about a comedian that got his big break by doing a troll-themed skit? No, because you know trolls are evil, mean, and nasty. But if you befriend a troll,
Why don't you say that?
Oh, I don't know.
speak up.
I said Don Rickles, but he was kind of a nasty guy. I didn't use eyes.
Well, that's why they have trolling. I had my video here. I'm not sure, I mean, I could play it where you could hear it. It talks about me walking through the Troll Museum. Or we could just put it here and let it loop for you afterwards.
What made you start collecting trolls?
Well, that's a good question. That's the number one question I get asked. And the answer is because it represents much more than a doll. It represents a legendary magical thing. And trolls being magical, I think they like having troll dolls in their image. And they bewitch children and people into collecting them. Absolutely. I'm a bit touched. My background is mental health nursing. I've done it for 30 years.
How long have you been collecting?
I started collecting when I was 5, but I didn't have a good reason for it until I got the museum and turned it into a business expense. So, we familiar with this song? Gotta dance.
Can't hear it.
Put it by the microphone.
Oh, that's right. Okay, this is Justin Timberlake, and this is the song that he wrote for the movie Trolls, put out by DreamWorks in November. So, Trolls, late 1950s, Thomas Dam. Toy of the Year by 1960s went from 0 to $1 million a year. The only toy to make a successful comeback by 1990s, it was voted again, Toy of the Year. The only toy to have that happen. Now it's a $1 billion a year industry. If you had a product to sell, you put a troll in it or on it. And now they're making a third comeback. DreamWorks went to Denmark and bought the rights to make the movie and the international franchise rights. Because DreamWorks got a new CEO who said, we must do what Disney. We must franchise a ton of materials for sales. It's much more than a movie. So it's a big 4-year plan. You're going to see more troll dolls like these blue ones and pink ones. So Justin Timberlake is the blue fellow. His name is Branch. He did such a good job. His movie got his, he wrote the screenplay for it. And it's a lot of vintage songs, so it actually appeals to older, more than little children. Because they're not silly children's songs, they're actually ones that's told through vintage songs, the story, and it goes rather quickly. It did really well. 2020, April, Trolls 2. So the DreamWorks Trolls are going to continue to be present in the stores. It's an international franchise. They have some exclusivity at Kmart. They had some items that are only at Kmart, items that are only sold at Walmart, dog toys only sold at Petco. Target did carry quite a bit of the Trolls over the years. They carried some of the Dam product ones. They carried some of the DreamWorks when they first came out. So the Trolls are going to be around for quite some times in their new movie. And it's called Trolls. So it's on Netflix now. And it's available. Anyhow, it's quite entertaining, and we'll see Trolls again. And because Justin did such a good job for the Trolls were good to Justin, and he's gotten a lot of publicity out of that. Did we ever talk about the comedian that got his start with the Trolls?
We don't know what.
It's a late night fellow, Jimmy Fallon. And guess what? He's best friends with Justin Timberlake. So hey, there's this troll connection, just keeps going and bringing everybody good things. So it's a YouTube video that shows Jimmy and his little troll skit, which is kind of a funny, silly thing. And then he's had interviews on Good Morning America where he talks about it too. So I didn't give anything away with that. The most famous troll fairy tale. Now that's got to be an easy one. What would that be?
Billy Goat's Gruff.
Billy Goat's Gruff. Button here.
Here she comes.
All right. Oh, I have an opportunity for you. Kevin mentioned that I've gotten quite good publicity. I've been in newspapers and on TV. I had my Skype interview with Weekend Londoner, which turned out to be a funny story because they said, who do they want to see? Do you want to see Sherry? Do you want to see Sigrid? So they wanted to see Sigrid. So I did a Skype interview, Weekend Londoner. It showed, I put it on Facebook. So some visitors came into the shop, and Sherry's standing there, and they said, we have to tell you, there's a woman in London, she has collected more trolls than you. I said, that portrait there? That woman there? And they're like, yes, that woman. So oftentimes people don't make the connection between the two of us, and it's kind of funny. So,
You mentioned Trolls in Ohio. What's the story there?
well, there is another movie that came out about 5 years ago called The Troll Hunter. It was made in Norway, it's subtitled in English, and it's on Netflix. It's a mockumentary, the trolls are real, and it's a government conspiracy, much like the aliens out in New Mexico.
I want to ask you about the troll on your head.
This
Little
here?
black one.
It's a real dog. It's a Chiweenie. It's a Chihuahua Dachshund mix. She thinks she's my arm ornament, and she's carried around with me everywhere. And I have a little papillon I didn't bring in. And they do the tours with the people. They get more attention than trolls usually.
They have troll hair.
Yes, they've got the hair that stands up, so they're the little trolly dogs. I noticed this lady's troll up here. That's quite a valuable one. An artist, Anton Savine. Yes. So this is what I tell my husband. My collection might be humongous, with over 20,000 troll items, including duplicates, and more than 7,000 unique troll dolls that are different in one way. But the primo trolls I really lack. So the primo trolls are the historic ones in the 1960s and the European ones.
That was from Norway, made in Norway.
Is that Hayden Carr?
Yes.
Yes. When you come to the museum, not only do we talk about troll dolls, but we talk about trolls when they first became objects of art. And there is multiple companies, and it's interesting that the same time Thomas Dam created his version of a troll doll, Ken Arnsbach from Denmark created a version, the Niform company from Norway created a version, and the Henning company in Denmark did a carved troll. This was by another fellow, Anton, and his are slightly different, all about that same time period, between 50 and 60. 5 major companies started developing images of trolls for souvenirs. So it must have been the souvenir market really took off during that time, and everybody, because I'll ask people, do you think they still care about trolls? Yes, they do. It's like a national mascot for those countries. For Iceland, Iceland has a special witch troll that lives there, and she has 13 sons, and they're responsible for all the mischief that happens on the island. And when they put up new highways, they sometimes have to go around spots where trolls are known to inhabit because they might anger them. So they actually deviate roads in honor of the trolls. A lot of people, when they encounter strange things that happen out at night, they very much believe that trolls are real. So it's excellent to see trolls like this. I do get donations to the museum. Sometimes people want to sell stuff, and if I can justify it, I try to purchase them, but I do get a lot of donations. The largest donation was over 4,000 trolls.
Oh.
They were mostly the cheaper troll dolls, but they were for a young man. He was collecting them for his girlfriend. He wanted to do something together, and she left him and all the creepy trolls, and he decided just to donate them. Wonderful, excellent piece.
It's a troll.
I have a question. So when I was a kid in the 60s, we had a lot of them rubberized with the crazy hair. Was it Hasbro or Mattel, or who made those, and how much did we buy them for? I don't remember.
Well, in the beginning, they were very inexpensive. That's one of the reasons there's so many, because, like, do I have all the trolls with the 20,000? No, there was multiple thousands of companies. The Russ Company was the most successful. This one here is the Russ Berry signature one. He started in the 60s, came all the way up through the 2000 before he stopped making, because the international copyrights shut down other troll productions that were official, but tons of people make them in Hong Kong, and even the DreamWorks ones are having knockoff copycat ones coming out of Hong Kong and all. So the trolls historically were always on the cheap side, $1 or less. They might have been called wishnicks in the 60s.
Right.
A lot of people say I recognize a wishnick. So they're pretty indestructible, so they last really well unless a dog chews on them. They're easy to make their own little clothes for, and there's something very beguiling about the eyes. Everybody says they're so ugly, they're cute. Did I answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions we have?
How many visitors have you had at the museum?
Well, do you have good statistics there? He keeps the numbers. So this is what I say. When we opened, we had a couple of tours a month, then we got a couple tours a week, and then this year, particularly after the movie hit, because now we appeal to 3 generations. We appeal to the little children that want to see the DreamWorks, we appeal to the people that liked the trolls when they came out in the 90s, and we also appeal to the people from the 60s that remember their troll dolls. So people relate to them on multiple occasions. We've had visitors from England, but now we're getting, well, during the summer we were now doing up to 7 tours a day, and we're getting much larger groups. This last Saturday we had one group, 16 people. It was 3-4 different groups at the same time. So where it was really spotty, now it's getting really consistent, and we continue to grow. We're partnering up with the Football Hall of Fame, Discover Ohio, Northeast Ohio Tourist Industry, and Destination Cleveland. So I'm creating this tourist destination downtown, the themed-based businesses. So our big project right now, that I apologize for being a little late, is called Camelot. Anybody heard about Camelot? So, crazy though I may be, I purchased multiple businesses, Downtown Alliance. Businesses, empty buildings that were in very bad need of repair, and my wonderful husband there likes to restore buildings and save them. So instead of being torn down, the old Haggie's restaurant on the corner of Arch and Main, familiar with that? So we managed to acquire that building. It was on the verge of demolition. We rebuilt the wall, stabilized it, put a new roof on it. So what are we going to do with this? We decided to create a gigantic art installation. So the whole building is nothing but an art piece that brings in attention. And what's important about art is to make it interactive. So it has a giant mural going down the big wall there. We'll have to see this. It's very detailed. It has a cipher. Do you remember the movie National Treasure? Where you had to solve the clues to find the riddles and find the treasure. So the treasure will end up being at the troll hole, because trolls have treasure. They have the gold. And the knights have came to town to find the treasure. So they'll have all these clues. It'll send you around to several different places within a 2-block area of downtown. It's Merlin, the Knights of the Round Table. So we're crowdfunding. We've gotten Arts and Stark paid for the printing of the mural. We have a full-time artist at the Troll Hole, David McDowell, who creates really cool exhibits for us. So they're very artistic. It's not just a row of trolls, and the #1 comment when people come to visit is, this is so much more than I imagined. Even if you've heard about it, when you come, you're like, wow, so many more rooms, so much more history, so much more about troll dolls that I never realized. So come visit Camelot. Is to be finished next year. We're going to do a Troll Wars, Trolls versus Knight, in a cardboard battle. There's this new thing called LARPing, live action role playing. So you dress up. It used to be you just called it dress up and played things out, but now it's called LARPing, and so we're going to do that. So we're raising money by, you can purchase a stone to have inscribed and added to the building, or you can have a custom shield. The custom shields you see here, one was done for the Chamber of Commerce, who's our partners, Arts and Stark, and Enviroscape. And if you're really ambitious, there are 2 spots, 2 faces left on the mural. Over here, and for $5,000, you can be legendized and have your face in the mural. It'll also have a light show at night, and when you look in through the windows, you'll see a staged set of knights and dragons, and a holographic show as well. So we're kind of very ambitious where people will show up to see with all the lights and the action. And we would love other people to come in and join us by establishing themed-based businesses. We have the Troll Hole, we have Enchanted Threads, we're working on Camelot, and we also have plans for a Mad Dog's Crazy Cat dog and cat boutique, since the cat museum is already there. So, we have one more thing here. Trolls movie. Slippery things. In the Trolls movie, made by DreamWorks, they have a lot of historically accurate information, and if you know your history of trolls, you can spot it. But one of the things that they have put in there is that if you eat a troll, it will bring you true happiness. So the Bergens are the bad guys, and they want to eat the trolls, and the trolls have to escape. So that's kind of the theme of the spot. So at the Troll Hole, we have chocolate trolls. And when you come on a group tour, we've had the big bus tours, they all get a troll to bring them happiness at the end of the tour. So I see somebody else brought a troll there, another historically one.
I'd like your thoughts on this one. I've never seen a reference in any of the troll books I have.
Well, it's similar to the ones made by Anton. It has the real Icelandic wool.
Is that wool or mowing?
Icelandic wool.
Turn it around.
And
How
it
about
looks
a
like
flea
it's
market?
made of plaster
I believe so.
instead of the other. So there are literally thousands of companies that copycatted. So I think this is a copycat of like Anton's design. How can you tell things are trolls? Besides the bushy hair, they have 4 fingers, 4 toes, tails. Always have tails. Oop, standing on mine. See? And they're misshapen. Elongated noses and oversized ears.
What would you date that?
I would say this is definitely in the 1960s.
60s?
Yeah, yeah. That's
You seen one like this before?
nope, nope. There's a lot of one of a kind. That one looks like it was created as a souvenir. Once again, I'm thinking it's a copy of this one. A lot of people copied things. You said you collected the Damn Things animals. Then there was a company in Japan called the Uglies. So the
Yeah.
Uglies made smaller copies of the Damn animals. Then there was a company in Korea that made copies of the Uglies.
Yes.
So it's like a lot of people copying the troll stuff. So it really makes it tricky, and the things that aren't marked are the ones tend to be the copycat. The ones that have the authentic mark on them from the original artist, then you know those are the authentic ones and the other ones are copies. But I like all of them, all the little knockoffs and the cheap Japanese ones, so they're all precious to me, and I keep them in. They all have a space of honor in the museum.
Thank you.
I have an opportunity next week, Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. Youngstown Business Review is coming doing a video, and they'd like to see some tourists there. Anybody available next Thursday at 10 a.m.?
We have a guest from Norway here.
Oh, well, there you go. Thank you. You're over visiting?
I'm from Salem, and I live in Norway.
Ah,
Here's your mother and her sister.
oh, well, so good to see the family. We're planning. People say, have you been to Norway? Because of different issues, we haven't been there yet, but it's been on our itinerary for the last couple of years. When someone asks about collecting troll dolls, so when I'm 5, I get one. I have 4 sisters. We all get a troll for Christmas in 1965. Then, trolls, there weren't very many of them. I grew up in the Southwest. There weren't very many of them around. It wasn't a big deal, so I had a few trolls. Well, if I saw one, I'd collect it. So by 1990s, I only had a half a dozen or so. When the 90s came, suddenly trolls were everywhere. They were on the secondhand market, they were at the flea markets, and they were all cheap. So then I started collecting them. When I started this project, I only had around 2,000 trolls and troll memorabilia that I picked up all secondhand. It wasn't until I had a reason, because what are you going to spend your money on? Well, I don't drink, I don't use drugs, I don't smoke, so I can spend money on trolls, right? So then what are you going to do with them? First, there's a shelf or two, and then it's my guest bedroom. So by the end of '94, all the guest bedroom had floor-to-ceiling rows of trolls. And the guests would say, this is creepy, I can't sleep in here, all these trolls are watching me. So then there was more than would fit in the room, and I had to start putting some into boxes and keeping them in storage. And it wasn't until around 2010 when I heard about DreamWorks movie. And I was trying to create a hook for downtown. Rob Hankins of Arts and Stark has been a big supporter of arts as an economic plan to revitalize areas in Stark County. And I thought, oh, I could use those troll dolls as a hook. And next thing you know, it was so popular that now it's turned into the museum. With tons more trolls being added to it and more people contacting. Yes?
Where are you located?
On East Main. Across from the farmer's market, next to the Red Caboose. The Red Caboose parking lot's right across, historic downtown. It was the old Singer sewing machine. And Montgomery Ward's. Singer sewing.
Factory, was it a factory?
No, it was a shop. It was a shop. It wasn't a factory. It's just a small, narrow building, but we have the 228 and 222, and both of them up and down. So you go up and down and all around and outside in the back. Yes, you had a question? We just stretching.
Now,
Yes.
do you go out and walk up and down the streets and drum up business that way, or?
That part of town doesn't have a lot of business like Camelot. We've been working on it, and what do you know? I seem to have some skill for some masonry work, so I'm doing the stone work. And all the mentally ill and the drunks come by and tell me I'm doing a really good job.
I mean, if you went out on the street in Salem here, you'd get a few looks, you know.
Yes, Sigrid gets quite a few looks when she's out and about and acting silly. I've been at First Fridays and a few other events where I masquerade around.
How did you get buses, or what's the story with your troll buses?
Well, the first one, I always try to tell people, you think I'm fanatical about collecting trolls. Well, actually, I'm not. I just took my interest in trolls and turned it into a business sense. But there's other people that are much more fanatical than I. What was the question now? I forgot. Oh, the buses. Anyhow, so they hook up on Facebook, and so a lady called Anything Troll, and she got really good IT skill, and she's constantly searching the internet for trolls for sale, or sightings of trolls, or troll art. In Seattle, there's a troll under a bridge that's clutching a VW. In Wichita, Kansas, there's a troll under a grate that's trying to escape that an artist created. There's a bunch in Norway. There's a very talented fellow that took pallet wood, scrap wood, and he created all these giant trolls along the trails in natural places. Really, really, really cool. She took and GPSed these, the latitude and longitude, and put it on her website. And every information comes up, so I don't bother to look for it. I just go to her website and look for what she did. So she posted about a VW bus for sale in Minneapolis, St. Paul, on Craigslist, and so I went and picked it up. And the green bus was a City of Akron bus, and we wanted to have a traveling museum. So it's a mobile museum. It's the 7 wonders of the troll world, and our wonderful artist followed my direction, and there's 7 different riddles, and each riddle is answered in the diorama he created. So we take that to different events and educate people and spread the word about the trolls. Yes.
What's your most favorite troll that you have in your collection?
Well, my most favorite troll is one of those damn trolls. Trolls like this, maybe they can have some value on eBay, but the damn trolls are the primo trolls, and those are the ones that troll collectors collect. And my first troll that I ever got was a big fellow like this with the orange hair, was naked, but it was the 1964 damn troll in the larger size. The smaller ones with the tails, those are $650 to $1,000. The one I've got, maybe about 400.
Is yours a 17-incher?
Yes. Any other questions? I've worn out my welcome. I could talk on and on and on. Trolls.
I have a question, because I'm a former school teacher, and you said that trolls usually are evil or bad creatures, so little kids go to see these movies about trolls, they leave the movie theater and they probably want to do what those trolls were doing. What do you think?
Well, one of the things that trolls like to do is steal human children. And they leave their troll baby in place. So especially since the movie came out, people would come in with a lot of children that are totally out of control. They act very badly. They don't pay attention. Their parents are red in the face. They say, don't do that. And the kid just runs around creating all kinds of havoc. So I think we're seeing a higher incidence of half troll or troll babies. Now you're supposed to, as history goes, you're supposed to treat that strange and misbehaving child well. You don't want to be mean to it, because the trolls are taking care of your child, and at some point you hope to exchange them back. So yes, the trolls set some bad examples. But a lot of it is because misunderstood. They're trying to sleep during the day. So when the 3 billy goats gruff, the troll's under the bridge trying to sleep, waiting for the sun to go down, and all the goats tromp, 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 tromp over the top of it. Right? Did you know the Downtown Alliance has hauntings?
No.
Yes, it has quite a history in the Historical Society there about hauntings downtown. And when we were doing renovations, my husband insisted multiple times he heard things. But I had my first significant experience Thursday before last. Starks Parks is a big supporter of tourism, so they invited us to the opening of the Iron Horse Trailhead, which is connecting Minerva all the way up through Berlin Lake. And they asked me to tell the story as surrogate of the trolls and the bridge. So I had to repeat that story about 15 times that evening. We get back to the Troll Museum, we're cleaning up, I'm changing my clothes. My husband's in there, I'm like, oh, he's taking forever. I start messing with the inventory. Clump, 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 clump. I'm like, oh, somebody came back to the museum, forgot to lock the door. Send the dog upstairs, she doesn't bark. I'm like, okay, no strangers up there, what should we do? I'm getting kind of creepy, it's dark, it's late at night, I'm in the basement, I hear all this racket upstairs. So we go upstairs, we look at the security cameras, no activity, nothing going on in the cameras. He walks to the front of the building, not back, and I said, that's not the noise I heard. So we go to the second area. He walked over the troll bridge. I said, that's the noise I heard. Just like that, creak, 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 going over the troll bridge. So our artists and all, we put our heads together and we said, the trolls must have really liked that I told that story over and over and over again, so I evoked the spirit of the trolls and I made the creaky bridge. And that's actually true. It really freaked me out. This was a loud noise and I wasn't thinking about it or worried about it, just there it was.
All right, well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Come out and visit, check on the progress of Come Visit Camelot and all the fun things. Stop by the Grumpy Troll Coffee. And there's lots more troll facts.
And you're open every day of the week?
Tuesdays through Saturday, 10 to 5. But if you have a group, we're open by appointment for larger groups as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, and you folks have a fabulous museum here. I am really impressed.
Come back.
Yes.
Ask Favorite or? Sure. I did want to mention, oh, David is here, okay? David, you want, I saved your report. Oh, you want me to do it? David couldn't be here earlier, so I had promised I'd leave a little spot. There is a new exhibit in Freedom Hall, if you have a chance to come out and see the horseshoe exhibit, and there have been some changes to the display there. The curation staff is working on a new guidebook for the docents for next year and continuing to accession items. So that's our last report of the evening. Our hosts for this evening are David Shivers and Kevin Schaefer. And so we invite you to stay and share refreshments with us and come back on Saturday for Quaker Fest activities from 10 to 4. And just come back lots. Sign up for the trolley and Underground Railroad tours that are remaining this season. And we are going to have light tours at Christmas too. So, talk to you soon.
Thank you.